This is Chapter 11A on proportion. In this chapter, we'll discuss two things: what a proportion is and how to convert a fraction into a percentage. So in the first skill, we're asking you, what is a proportion? And a proportion is basically a part of a whole or a fraction. So it's the same thing as a fraction. And so if we look at the first example with apples, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 apples in total. So that is our whole. The whole is the total. Now, I want to know what proportion of those total apples is red. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 are red. This is the part because it's part of the whole. So the proportion of red apples is 8 red apples out of 12 in total. And you can simplify this fraction because you can divide the top and divide the bottom by 4, which makes 2 out of 3. So at this time, can you pause and tell me the proportion of green leaves on this plant and what is the proportion of the shape that's shaded? So in the second example, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 leaves. That is our whole. We want the green leaves, so we have to count the green ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 7 are green. So the proportion of green leaves is 7 out of 21. And if you divide by 7, you can simplify this fraction into 1 over 3. In the last example, what proportion of the shape is shaded? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts in total. That is our whole. And the part that's shaded is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 that are shaded. So the proportion that is shaded is 6 out of 10. And if you divide it by 2, you will get 3 out of 5 as a fraction when it's simplified. Now, in this skill, we have to turn a fraction to a percentage. And as a reminder, the goal of a percentage is to basically make a fraction out of 100. A fraction can have anything in the denominator, but a percentage is particularly always out of 100 because the most you can score on a test is 100%. So if we look at example B, my goal is to turn that 20 into 100. So if I put a denominator of 100 underneath, then I can think to myself, what do I have to multiply 20 by to get 100? Well, I have to multiply it by 5 to get 100. So if I do the same thing here, that means I will get 15 out of 100, which is automatically 15%. So at this time, pause and try to change the remaining 4 fractions into a percentage. And in the first fraction, that does say 5 out of 10. Okay, so let's do this. 5 out of 10 is the same as saying 50 out of 100, which is 50%, because you multiply by 10. 9 out of 25 is the same as saying 36 out of 100, because you have to multiply by 4. So this makes 36%. 3/8 is a little bit trickier. We'll come back to that. Now, 24 out of 40, you have to take two steps here. First, turn it into something out of 20. So I'm going to divide by 2 and divide by 2 to get 12 out of 20. And now that I have that, I can then go ahead and turn this into 100. Multiply it by 5, and I multiply it by 5, and this gives me 60 out of 100. Now, 3/8. A way to think about eighths is this. 1/4 we automatically should know, if we turn this into 100, is 25 out of 100, which makes 25%. So 1/4 is 25%. So that means 1/8 is half of that, which is actually 12.5%. Now, if we know 1/8 is 12.5%, to get 3/8, we have to just simply multiply this by 3. And if you multiply 12.5% by 3, you'll get 37.5%. Now we have to apply it to word problems. In the first problem, we have Sabana scored 9 out of 12 in a German test, and in French, she scored 28 out of 40. Which test did she do best? Now, in order to compare the two tests fairly, we actually have to turn these both into percentage. So the first fraction is 9 out of 12, and the second test is 28 out of 40. So in the first fraction, I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3, because I know that will make 3/4. Now, once I see 3/4, I can make this out of 100 simply by multiplying by 25. And so that will make 75 out of 100. So this one represents 75%. Now on the second test, she scored 28 out of 40. So we have to first probably simplify this, dividing it by 2, so we can get a denominator of 20. That means 28 divided by 2 gives you 14. Now we can turn this out of 100 simply by multiplying by 5. So 14 times 5 will make 70. So on her French test, she earned 70%. So which test did she do best on? She did best on her German test because she scored 75%. Her French test, she scored 70%. So at this time, can you pause and try to do B on your own? So in B, you have 42 out of 50 for the German test. And you can multiply this by 2 to make 84 out of 100, which makes 84%. So German, she earned 84%, or he earned 84%. Now the next one, 64 out of 80 on his French test. So I think I'm going to divide this because I want to make this an easy fraction to turn to 100. I think I'll divide by 8. And there's many ways you can divide it. Maybe divide by 4 to get 20. So in the end, it's all going to have the same answer. Now, if I divide by 8, I'll end up with 10 on the bottom, and I'll get 8 on top, which then turns into 80 out of 100 because you multiply by 10. So on the French test, he earned 80%. So he also did better on the German test. Maybe German's easier. And that's it.